Look at this, we're having a baby.
In 1 week's time, we're flying to South Africa.
So I guess that means we're done with bus life.
Oh boy, it doesn't look so good. And within the next week, we have to drive the bus through 5 different states.
Renew my passport because it expires in 3 days.
Replace our Jeep's windshield because it has a massive crack. Leave the bus alone for the first time in a year. Bye bye.
I got up bright and early, drove down here to the passport office, and they told me I was a day early for my appointment, which really throws everything off. Tomorrow we were supposed to get the Jeep windshield replaced because there's a giant crack in it. I think we're not going to be able to get the Jeep windshield fixed and do the same 2-hour drive to get down here tomorrow.
Not a great start to checking off our to-do list, but we needed to turn things around because we've got a very important flight to catch.
Now, even though we travel full-time, we're both actually pretty nervous travelers.
We've been trying to eat really healthy, get enough sleep, meditate every day to help cope with all the stress that's coming over this week. And then we're going to get on flights that actually take 2 days to get to where we're going in South Africa. So we decided we needed to look for something else to help us cope with all the stress. We just got Apollo Wearables in the mail, and I'm super excited to open this up and start using it.
Apollo Wearable was created by neuroscientists and physicians. It's like having a remote that tells your body how to feel.
You connect the Apollo Neuro app to your Apollo Wearable, wear it on your body close to your bones with either the clip or wristband. And it creates soothing vibrations that we hope will restore our nervous systems.
Ooh, I feel it.
The Apollo Vibes is like a playlist of music for your body. It promises higher vibrations to improve energy and focus, with lower vibrations to tell your body it's safe to relax and get out of fight or flight mode.
So now that I've got it paired with my phone, I can set it to different vibrations according to what I'm doing. They say it's better to use it consistently to be more effective. So while I'm hoping that it's really going to help us on the plane, on the long flight so that we can sleep and then adjust to the huge time difference there is to South Africa, I'm going to start using it now. We're about to go out to a social event, so I'm going to try social. Adjust the time. Let's go for the longest. And I can feel it. You can adjust the intensity to what feels good to you. And now we get to go out and, I don't know, just let it be on my arm the whole time.
We had one last hangout with our Colorado family, and our Uncle Gary has been playing with these guys since 1971. It's a video. It is 8:02. My appointment to get a new passport is at 9 o'clock, but I'm going to go ahead in anyway and see if they'll let me apply. I can't film in a federal building, of course, so I don't know, we'll see what happens. Alright, that was pretty painless. I got all my documentation, my photo, paid my fee, and it's 8:27. So that was real quick. But now I just gotta wait around out here for till 2 o'clock. So I think I got 8 hours to kill. From where we're staying is an hour and 40 minutes. I don't think driving back home and turning around and driving all the way back is a smart thing to do. I got a new one. So travel plans can commence.
Good morning. Good morning. It is time for us to start traveling to Indiana. It's going to take us 3, maybe 4 days to get there. Stressful, but exciting. We've been wearing the Apollo on our ankles at night to help us sleep.
I can't tell if it's working 100% at night for me. I do sleep terribly and I tend to wake up in the middle of the night, and sometimes I cannot fall back asleep, and that hasn't happened. I have been falling back asleep with the Apollo on in the asleep vibe. I'm hoping that the more I wear it, the better it'll get, but I'm thoroughly enjoying it during the day. My favorite modes actually have been the energy around 4 p.m. If I'm working and I'm editing, I really hit a slump around 4 p.m. and it is helping me get through that slump. That one I can really feel working for me. I think I'm gonna try calm today while Don's driving the bus and see how I do on a travel day, preparing for the flight that I'm very nervous about. So we gotta get going, Mr. Sweet. Time for a travel day. I wish I could get an Apollo for Mr. Sweetface.
We left Colorado and drove about 6 hours into Nebraska, losing an hour as we changed from Mountain Time to Central Time and spent the night at a Harvest Host winery.
The next day, feeling good and ready to go, we headed out for another 5-hour drive day into Iowa to stay somewhere kind of special for the night.
Tonight we're staying at Lake Anita State Park. It's the very first campground that we stayed at when we started traveling, and it's just as pretty as last time. We're kind of tracing back our path. We left Indiana the same way we're returning.
This point in, I was getting pretty tired of driving, so we decided to split the last leg of our trip into 2 more days.
With a 3.5-hour trip and losing another hour as we moved into Eastern Time in Illinois, feeling relieved our windshield was holding up under the cover we probably should have had in the first place, we stopped at a winery for a little celebration.
Captain's Log, Travel Day 3. You might remember this place, because this was one of our, second stops on our way out west. This is a Harvest Host location, which, as you know, is one of our favorite ways to stop and camp. The sun's starting to go down, and we've got this beautiful area all to ourselves.
Cheers. And happy birthday, honey.
Oh, thank you. Now, one reason I'm very excited we're here tonight is because we just have one more travel day to get to Indiana to visit my family there.
And to hop on a flight. Leave the bus alone for the first time in a year.
Yeah, we've slept in the bus for over a year and 2 months now. It's gonna be weird not sleeping in the bus, isn't it?
Very weird. It's like a baby though, you don't want to leave it alone either.
I know. The only thing we have to do this morning is take some COVID tests. Unfortunately, our aunt and uncle and our sister-in-law both tested positive for COVID a couple days ago. And we've been hanging out with them for a week and a half. The last thing we need is to be sick. We did the swabbing, and now we're just patiently waiting for the countdown here.
We feel fine, but if these tests come back positive, that means we have to cancel our entire trip.
Let's look at our tests this time. And
That looks good.
look at this, we're having a baby.
Don't say that.
Both tests are clearly negative. This is the 3rd test we've taken. I feel pretty confident, which means we're good to continue our travels.
We left in some rather heavy rain, but once we got through the storm, it was an easy 4.5-hour drive into Indiana.
Pulling into my parents' driveway, we were flooded with memories and very happy to have arrived.
And we're here at Don's parents' place. The bus is back on the bus pad. For anybody who's new around here, we spent 3 years living with Don's parents and converting the bus right here. It's weird to be back. It also doesn't feel like time has passed. It's one of those strange things. And hey, look what happened to our tent. You remember our little tent for storage? Got completely destroyed in a storm. I don't know if anything in there is usable anymore. I can't even remember what's in there, but I know there's some plywood. It is covered up. Hopefully it survived, because that stuff's expensive. We are leaving the bus for 3 weeks.
One thing we really got to make sure is that the mice don't take over, because we know they can get in, and without cats in here, I think they will be here. Crackers.
Oh, that's perfect fast food.
Yeah. Pretzels.
And pizzicato.
Yep, pizzicato might jump in there. Watch out.
Yeah, that was gonna happen.
Oh,
sure.
all this stuff. Seeds.
Oh yeah.
Grains.
Yep. Pizzicato's getting the feeling that we're going somewhere, I think. So she's making sure she goes with us. But unfortunately, the cats cannot go with us. They will be having a little vacation with Don's parents. The other thing is, it still has the potential to get really hot here while we're away, and there's not going to be any temperature controlling. We want to make sure nothing is in the bus that could get ruined in extreme heat, because it has the potential to go over 100 degrees.
We're going to go ahead and turn all the electric off so there's no live electric in the bus the whole time. But that also means that our fridge will have no power. So I think we're going to clear out the fridge, put it in our little baby fridge that we still have from when we lived here when we were doing the bus build. Believe it or not, packing up and deciding what you should and shouldn't pack up is stressful. So I'm trying the Calm app here for the Apollo. I'll let you know how it works. Sometimes stress is unavoidable, but having a way to help manage this stressful week definitely made it easier. We're going to pack up any of the essential oils, and as well as anything that would explode. Propane, butane, and lithium batteries. Little lithium batteries for your cameras and things like that are prone to not have the safety features of bigger batteries like our Battleborn batteries.
Bags are packed, so it's starting to feel like we're actually gonna go on a flight. Except we have to do the thing where we make sure the suitcases close. What do you think?
It's gonna be close.
We want to take our pillows with, but it is memory foam, so I think it's just gonna squish down and it's all gonna be okay.
Oh,
Little
not
cold.
looking good.
Oh no. Oh boy, it doesn't look so good. No, okay, let me try mine.
Okay.
It's a tight fit, but it works.
We're gonna find out what can and won't be going with me.
A third of my bag is full of gifts for family. Oh, we haven't told you yet. The reason we're going to South Africa is we're going to visit my family. It's been 4 years since we've seen them, and we're going to be celebrating my parents' 50th wedding anniversary. And Don's bag's got a lot of snacks. I don't know. Too many snacks?
Noah took some of my stuff out of my suitcase, and now mine closes. Let's see if she can still close hers.
No problem. I still got space in there. Oh, I took the pillow out. That's why. Ooh, what a day. Man, as much as you try to prep, it always seems like packing for a trip, it always ends up being kind of last minute. Does that happen to you? We've been using the Apollo all week, and I've definitely felt it helping me during my days. I have PTSD and struggle with pretty high anxiety, and it definitely helped on the travel days in the bus. I do have a lot of problems sleeping. I do struggle with insomnia, and I've had some good night sleeps, but I've also had some bad nights. I've looked it up and they do say that it can take some people up to 30 days for it to start working. So you just have to be really consistent with it and keep using it. So I am crossing fingers that if I keep working on it and putting it on every night, that it's gonna help me sleep eventually. The real big test is going to be taking this flight to South Africa. Ugh, I can't tell you how much I hate these long flights. So the real test is going to be, does it help me through this flight? But either way, I am so happy to have found the Apollo, because I'm somebody who refuses to take medication for my anxiety. It's not a drug, and I don't have to worry about overusing it. In fact, using it more often is more beneficial, and I'm so happy to share it with you. I'll leave a link for Apollo down in the description, and you can get $50 off with code REHABITATE. We're gonna go have dinner with Don's family, so I'm putting it on social. I need a little something to help me get through this evening and have some fun with the family. I just remembered, I forgot one more thing. My plants, we gotta take my plants out of the bus.
Look how long he is.
He's as big as you. That's so impressive. Yeah. And it's time.
It's gonna be weird not sleeping in the bus for a while.
Our home is turned off. She's going to sleep. Bye, bus. See you out there, yeah.
So I guess that means we're done with bus life.
Just for now.
We had about a 1.5 hour flight from Indianapolis to Atlanta. We're getting ready to board our second flight.
This is where things got challenging, with a 14-hour flight on a very full plane and a 6-hour time difference as we flew across the Atlantic Ocean to Cape Town, South Africa.
I've never been so happy to get off a plane before.
Hard. It's not the soft landing I expected, but it's a welcome bed.
I'm really looking forward to being horizontal after 17 hours of sitting.
It was a long flight. All in all, it actually went really smooth. I am super happy about our Apollos. Definitely helped, but 17 hours in an uncomfortable chair, it's not fun. We slept like babies last night. We weren't sure how we were gonna sleep because we had breakfast on the plane and then got off and had dinner and went to bed. But we slept for 11 hours, feeling good. We've got a few more hours in Cape Town before we catch our next flight to Gqeberha, so we're gonna go have some lunch.
The first European settlement in southern Africa was established in Cape Town in 1652. Despite the dark history of apartheid and the still raw issues the whole country faces, Mother City is now vibrant and culturally diverse, surrounded by sweeping views of both mountains and ocean.
We seem to have arrived on a rainy day, but that didn't stop us from getting out to be a part of the joy that is Cape Town.
We got a tiny little bit of sunshine. It's a pretty great day. Hopefully it doesn't rain on us, but we're down at the waterfront. It's a very touristy area, but we thought we'd get some ocean views. It's so cloudy out there, there's not many views at all.
So this is the famous Table Mountain that Cape Town sits under. When it's cloudy like this, they call that the tablecloth. We decided to eat at Balthazar's. I've eaten at the one in New York before. I'm pretty excited. It's pretty good food. Plus, they customized my cappuccino for my last name. We're starting the meal with the Balthazar avocado Ritz, which looks pretty fancy.
I don't want to destroy it. It's so pretty. We're in South Africa, so we thought we should try some of the local games. So here we have wildebeest, impala, eland, and kudu. Let's try it. Oh, it's really good. It is tough, but it is good.
My favorite of the wild game we tried was the kudu. Here's a picture of it right here.
And just like that, it's time for us to go take our last flight.
Our third flight was the shortest, but the most emotional as we got closer to Mella's family.
Just like many of you, I was unable to visit my family during the pandemic lockdown, but being oceans apart made it even harder to time out a visit. It's been 4 years since I've seen my family in person, and it's been too long.
The total of 17 hours of flying and over 24 hours of travel time, we finally made it to Mella's hometown of Gqeberha. Why don't you try to pronounce that better than me?
Hello, Howard. How are you? Nice to see you.
While all these flights to South Africa were long and tiring, I cannot believe how much the Apollo helped my anxiety.
I ended up getting about 6.5 hours of broken sleep, even though it was probably the most turbulent flight we've ever had.
And I know people might think that this is just a sponsored video and we're just saying this, but we sought out the Apollo because of the science behind it, and I can attest to the fact that it really does work. Within the next week, I started sleeping so much better. I went from having 1 good night of sleep a week to 6. I would say that is a huge change, and my life is completely changed by this.
Now we're going to continue to use our Apollos in our everyday life. If you're interested at all, we've got a link and a coupon code. It's Rehabilitate. You can save $50 off the purchase of your own Apollo if you want to try it out for yourselves. We'll be back next week exploring some exciting areas in South Africa, and we'll see you then.